Hello and welcome to How to Maximize Efficiency with CTC Tools. I'm your host, Todd Tilford, a senior technical specialist within the civil team at ATG. If you're joining us live today, you'll receive an email with the recording and other helpful resources after the event. If you're watching from YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date with the new content as it comes out. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to know is just a little bit about you, and if you use some of these CTC tools. Are you a beginner, intermediate, advanced? I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll, and go ahead and fill out that poll, and I'll wait a little bit to see as people are going to answer this. We'll wait a minute, and we'll look at the results. We're having got some beginners here, some intermediate. Oh, not bad, not bad. Intermediate. Cool. I know before I ever got into doing consulting work, I did not have some of these CTC tools. And I sure wish I did when I was in production. Some of these things that it does, especially for the pipe designer and pushing slopes and things like that in the Autograder, are just a great tool to have in your tool belt for doing some grading. Actually, like I said, getting slopes on pipes. And then we're also going to talk a little bit of the label Genie today that will automate some of these labeling and detailing your plans. And then I have a little bit of the sheet generator that we're going to be going over. All right. So at the end of the day, we have 45% said, we'll go ahead and end this poll here. 45% said yes to, are you currently users of the CTC SIM tools? So it was about half and half there. Beginners, so there was 82% beginners here. Oh, this is good. This is good. Hopefully there's some designers or some drafters in there that I'll get behind the scenes and you'll see a little bit how to set this up. And then we have some no advanced. So we'll try to keep it intermediate there. Okay. Let me go ahead and go over to my PowerPoint. I just kind of already started with the PowerPoint and started talking about our agenda and what we're going to be going over, some of the pipe networks. We're going to go looking at some of the CTC tool, pipe designer. We're going to look at the pipe planner where I'm going to export some pipe networks to a spreadsheet. We're going to look at some grading and drainage using the Autograder, automating some of that grading for us. We'll be looking at some labeling and annotation using the label Genie. And then I just got a small little sheet set, or I'm going to create using the sheet generator, some of the plan and production tools. Okay. And that's it. I mean, I'm not going to go too farther in there. I think we're going to jump right into this demo and start looking at these plans. So what I've done is I've actually started creating some sets of plans that I'm going to start making a plan set for. So these are 50 by 120 lots, and this is going to be my geometry plan. So I have it laid out. This is my existing. I've created an alignment through here, and I've went through and labeled some of these or used some standards for putting all these layers and things on the right layer and things like that, so that my label Genie and all my configurations work within here. Okay, so some of the first things we want to do is label some of these lots, okay, and get some of the number of the lots and get to some of the square footages. We'll also put a label on the back here on the back of lots. We'll also put a label on the front of lots. And then we'll go ahead and put some side lot annotation on here. And I'll show you a little bit how to put all that together. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to launch Label Genie. Label Genie is if you go to your ribbon and you go to the SIM project suite, in here, this is all the tools that the SIM project suite have available. We're going to talk a little bit about the pipes. We're going to talk a little bit about the grading, a little bit of the Label Genie and the sheet generator today. But what I was just talking right now is the Label Genie, okay? So when you launch the Label Genie, if you buy the software out of the box, there's probably not going to be anything here, okay? So you're going to have to create those. And this is what I started doing over here. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what it does. is it will label through the current drawing, through layouts, and through other DWGs. I currently only use one drawing at a time, but it allows me to look through my labels and create different label sets to label lines, arcs, feature lines, and other objects. So you get these configurations right for what you're trying to label. Then you come over and you also have the formatting, the line style, the curve style, things like that, what the layer is going to be on. So that could really help, as you go and label things and, it's on layer 0, you're gonna have to come back and label it again when you're using some of the annotation in Civil 3D. If it's not set correct. So once you have these correctly, you know that once you label it this way, it will be put on the proper layer. Let's go ahead and start looking at some of these. So the first thing we're going to do is look at lot labels and areas. So what I do is if I wanted to load it, it's going to ask me to do some changes, and it's going to have a block. That's the first thing we're going to do. And then it's some anchor objects. So it's going to be some P lines. So I have some closed polygons in here. And what it's on C property lots. Okay. And I can use this little over here to go out and pick another layer that I wanted to do that, just to show you how to pick. And then as I come through here, it's going to drop it in the centroid of that lot. It's going to be on plan. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at the formatting. This is the block in the drawing, lot label. This is the annotation layer that it's going to be put on. And then if you look over here, there's actually in that block some attributes, okay? And that's how they're created. One is the area. And if I come over here and click, you kind of bring them over here and you move the counter and things over to this area. I'll look and open that. And you can see where it's the square foot and a conversion factor. If I come over here and look at lot, here's some of the counter. Come on. It's going to start with 1, okay? So let's go ahead and change that. We're going to make this 300. And then look at the counter path, all right? So if I come over here, it's no plot. So that's what it's going to know to go out there and number, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that. And what I mean is I have this no plot layer going around here right now. So once I have that all set up, I can come over here and just basically look to see how many objects it's going to grab. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit add labels. Okay. And just like that, what it's done is it started to label 331, 330, starting at 300 over there. And it's following this plot, no plot P line. Okay. If I wanted to reverse it, I could come back up to here, modify it, and just reverse it. And come in and actually run the label Genie again because it remembers what it put out. I'll come over here and run it again. It actually remembers it, and I'll just run it. And it updated. And you can see now it's going the other direction. So it's going this direction of this P line. So I can reverse it and change those. Okay. Let me just go ahead and straighten some of these out. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Just want to make these straight. Okay, so the next thing we do, I just had to rotate these towards this right here. So I just want to make it nice and clean. Let's start going down the pipeline and start labeling these things. I'll go to label Genie. And I'll come over here and I'll go and look at, we'll label some lot labels on the front, and I'll load it. And if you come over here, it's on, that's the layer that it's going to look for. This is what it's going to put on there, the label style and the layer that it's going to put it on there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add. And it's going to put all those labels in the front. Okay. And, I could probably make a couple different scenarios here and have them go from one side in different right-of-way lines and things like that. But I'm just going to, for time's sake, and just kind of flip these real quick. Let me see. Here, flip them. We'll know about that. Okay. Oh, I did that wrong, didn't I? That was right. So it was these here. So I'll just pick these and then we'll label them. Just hit in here to label them. I'd probably create a different layer and a different label scenario to make sure that these are going back and forth. And I didn't do it again. I hit the wrong one. I reversed it, didn't I? Let me just do this and flip. Get this right here. And then we'll go here. Just sitting, getting some of these labels, and then we'll flip these. All right. So the next thing we'll do is we'll do the back of lots. So I could have had a different scenario and reverse the flip on those, but I just didn't have time. We're going to go ahead and do the back of lots. We'll hit here, and then we'll load these also. And it's doing the same thing, but what it's doing this time, it's actually just looking for those lines. It's looking for that layer back of lots. So we'll go ahead and add those. And you can see where it's putting those in, and I'll have to go and fix these again. Let's do that real quick. Flip. Flip. All right, and then we'll flip those. All right, and then we'll come up here and do this one more time, and then we'll do the side lot lines. And these, all that I've created these and saved them, okay? So label on the side lot lines, I'll load, hit save, and I'll come over here. And again, here's the lines that I'm looking for, side lot lines. And then I'm gonna come out and it's gonna put all these side for me. Okay, so I'm starting to come out here to have a geometry plan. And then I could probably go ahead and just freeze this and turn this off. All right. So starting to come together, and that's almost got a pretty good looking geometry plan. I already have a layout that I got working. And you can see that I've already started to label and annotate that using Label Genie. Just using a couple little scenarios there, okay, that I created. And that when I create those, basically what I would do is I get it right and I kind of run it a couple times to make it for the standards. And then I come to the civil project and I go to the Label Genie. And what I'll do is get it all configured the way that I want, but these are all configured. I just hit new, right? And then when I hit save, it brings it out here, and these are where I've saved them. So that's where I'll start to overwrite them once I get them nice and working nice and proper for me, right? All in my standards. So when I come out here, I can bring these in and share them into other drawings and other standards, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and save this. And I'm going to go over into the grading plan. And I'm going to come over here, and this is a grading plan. So what I've done is just take the grading plan and I extract this all into here, right? So this is my existing, and then here's some of the line work that I've created for my feature lines. So this is going to be my grading plan. I have some storm that I sketched in here and brought in. I also, in another drawing in the utility plan, as I started to let me make this 40, by the way, make so you can see it a little bit better, and did some put some of that sanitary in, and I'll show you a little bit with the pipe designer how to modify that. At the end of the day, we're going to grade some of these lots. All right, and if you look at these lots, they're on a layer. These are feature lines. All right, they are on type B grading, and they're on a style called child. All right. On the other side, I have this one, and I have this going on, and the same thing. This is type A grading. All right. So the type grading is going to just be from get the elevation from here, go back 2%. The other grading over here, it's actually going to come and put some up, go up, I think 30 foot back at 4%, go back at 2%, put another node, and then tie in. So it's going to actually put these nodes in here for me. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to put some pads in here based on the A and the B lots. All right. Over here, I have a little pond that will do some offsetting with the Autograder. This is a perpendicular template, and this is a parallel template you would create. And then over here are these A and B and C lots or paths. Okay, so this would be your A, that's all going forward. This is your B, where it's split. And then here's your C that goes from reverse. All right, let me get into the Autograder and just show you kind of what I'm talking about. All right, so you come over here and you go to, why is that up? Oh, there we go. Let's go to the Autograder. And once you open up the Autograder, you can see where I've built a couple templates here. I have one for the subdivision. I have one for the lot A side lots. I have one for the lot of the A pad. I have one for the B side lot, and I have one for the B pad. All right. If I come over here and I actually hit new, this is what I'm talking about. So they allow you, Autograder will allow you to create 3 different templates to work with. All right. So a parallel is going to have a parent feature line, and then you're going to tell it what offsets they are. So I got a pond that has a bench. This goes down to 4:1, 2%, 4:1 to bottom of pond. Perpendicular, this is going to define where I put PVIs along this. You know, it's going to come out here, and this is a feature line. It may come out 30 feet, put a note. It goes out 60 feet, puts a note. Goes to the back of the lot. If this is a hierarchy feature line, it will keep those grades in the back and in the front. All right. A template insert is actually, we're going to drop in the pad. All right. Based on an A and B scenario. When you come back here just for visual, what this template drop's going to do is going to look at these first, the highest elevation on the front. And then once it finds out what the highest elevation, it's going to do the calculation and drop in the pad. All right. So let's go ahead and come out here a little bit, and I'm going to, I have all these set to go to a pond surface, and then basically all these are going to a subdivision paths. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at the subdivision, or not the subdivision pond. And I'm going to bring that up, and basically what I have here is I just have some slopes. Here's that the parent, that's that top bank. It's going to come out 15 feet at 4:1. That's minus 25% at a distance inwards. I'm going to do this one here, and this is going to be my bench with the 2% at 5 feet. And then I'm going to do another slope here at 12 at 3:1. All right. How I have it set up is I got it at a filter. So it's actually going out and using that layer to find site pond. And then here's some of the formatting. All right, so it's going to go out and actually do those offsets and put the child on this one and on that layer for me. Okay. The other thing I want to watch, so we have this all built. We name it, we save it. We close it. We can actually take this and now save it out. And you can see where I've saved all these out to a certain location. And then I could actually share it. And this is the same location in the options. And I can actually share this information with other users and then bring it into the drawing. So I created these all in here, and they will always stay in here until I delete them. Okay. So what happens is you start to do all this grading in here. These are very dynamic. If things start to change and the corridor that I have running down here starts to move and change up and down the profile grade line, that outside right-of-way grades change, right? So this actually remembers what I did. So I'd have to update those right-of-way feature lines, sampling them from the finished ground of the corridor, and then I'd have to rerun these scenarios. And this, what it does, it remembers what I did. So once I do these updates, I got a corridor that's dynamic, and now I have a pad that's starting to be dynamic also. So it's like a two-step, right? I do my corridor, update my profile grade line. I come over here, I grab the right-of-way, actually 3 steps. Grab this right-of-way line, sample from the finished ground surface from the corridor, and then regrade these side lot lines, and then add these pads again. All right. So let's go ahead and just kind of run. So do a couple more. We'll just do between a side. We'll do a lot B side lot line. And you can kind of see how this one's starting to be built. All right. So it's going to start off at the parent. That's that right-of-way line. It's going to come back 30 feet at 2%. And then I just did distance to relative elevation. It's going to go back 60, drop 0.75. It's going to go back another 30, and it's going to be minus 0.6. Okay. And it's going to come back. And right now, these feature lines have no PVIs in them right now. All right. Let's look at a pad. So we come over here to the pad, and we pick. You can see where I'm starting to create it. So I actually selected it. So what I did is I actually went and selected the right-of-way lines that I'm going to grade to. And I could have used a filter for selecting the different layers. It's going to come out and say I found 18 feature lines that this line's crossing, that's going to apply this pad calculation. Okay. So if I come out here and I want to hit an object, I'll go ahead and do this. I hit pad. So it's wanting that B pad. So I'd come over here, and I know this is the B pad. I'll hit enter. And then it's looking for the base point. All right. So if I pick here, I'm just going to come back out to that again. I'm going to hit midpoint. And now I've set that up, right? And the other thing to watch out, I'm doing this for the left side of the alignment. So you got to watch. The other side is going to be for the right side. And it's going to go back and drop that in at 30 feet at 0.4%. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And again, after you do some changes, you can rerun this tool over and over again. All right. So let's go over here a little bit, and we're going to run the subdivision pond. Let me move it over here. Just so you can see it. And here's my pond. And then we'll go ahead and run that. And it put that in there for me, and I have it on something different. Something else to also look at, if I didn't have some of the mid-ordinance distance and the triangulation set, this is where you're going to come into the settings, and they're going to apply that every triangle is 10, and the mid-ordinance distance is at 0.1. So this surface looks really tight for the pond. All right. We'll go ahead and hit OK. And then I'll hit close. And you come over here, you can see that it built this pond for me. Okay. A very good little pond that it did. All right. So what happens if this changes? All right. So I could come up here. I could just say, oh, the Autograder. I could come back into the pond. I can hit edit. And let's go ahead and make this 10. We'll leave that there. And then maybe we just want to do this 8, something in nature. All right. So we'll go ahead and save and close it. And now it's kind of more of a different bank there, right? And then I'll go ahead and run it. And you'll see that it deletes those lines and redoes that pond for me. Okay. Let me just show this all the time, but you can see where it's updated this pond. So it gives you a dynamic pond that you could start to know what's your stage storage and how to size this. And this could be changing all the time, but all I have to do instead of doing these offsets and adding to that pond is come back to the Autograder, come over here to my pond, hit edit, change this back to 15, make this back to 10. And again, I can save, come over here and rerun this again. And again, I have a dynamic pond that's constantly being built. Okay. Pretty neat. Let's go ahead and grade some of these lots here. All right. So on the one side, I have A lots. On the other side, I have B lots that we'll grade. And then what I have is I have a corridor coming down here. And I actually have some driveways that it's kicking back here and actually dropping the curb for me using some conditional. What we're going to do is I actually sampled here and I got these from the surface, right? So I'd come over here and I would go to modify, and then maybe we'll hit this just to make sure. And I got a road A finished ground, and I'll use it.
And then I'll select these lines. Oh, let's do this again, but this time I'll hit multiple. And I'll select that right away, line in the front, line in the back, just to make sure I'm getting the right elevations. Perfect. So it did what I wanted to do, I believe. Let's check some of these elevations. Yeah, kind of see that changing. All right, so let's go up to the Autograder in the CT project suite. We'll go to the Autograder and we'll go do these side lot lines first. Lot A side. All right, so this one's pretty simple. It's just going, oh, I hit the wrong one. Just a straight shot. Boom, 2%. All right, so we'll go ahead and run that. And that's going to go and start to build that surface also. All right. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run this lot A pad. And then we'll run that in there. And it gave me a little over, probably a little, my lines over there a tad, but it's starting to drop in those pads and then do those calculations for me. All right. So let me go ahead and can I just delete these extra ones here that it probably had a little overlap. And I got some lots going on, you know. So if I grab this surface, see if I got a good view of this, you can see, I don't know if I looked at this in conceptual, you can start to see those pads being graded. You can see my little driveways being done. That's not a very big view, is it? But you can start to see my pads. See if I got a better view here. There's some triangulation, but you can definitely start to see the pads right there. Okay, so I've already started building those A lots for me. All right, let's go ahead and do some of these B lots. Now these B lots are not a straight shot. There's actually some nodes that are going to have to be put in. And that's what I loved about this Autograder is that, you know, you come in here as a designer, do your offsets and then put these in, have to come in here with the grading tool and then overdo this constantly. This allows me to constantly rerun this tool and have to not come back and regrade this one by one as this is changing all the time, or as these lots A and B and C change, right? Let's go to the Autograder again. And we are going to do run the lot B side lot line. And you know what, let's go ahead and just change that a little. Need a space there. And then we'll save and close it. And then I'll go ahead and pull this one off and then I'll run this one. And then what that's going to do is do the same thing. It's going to go out and run that and put those nodes in there for me. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and run this pad while we're in here. So we'll go ahead and run that pad. So it's going to go in there and drop those in. Pretty slick on dropping all those pads for you, having this all pre-set up based on your area, in your standards, and then just bringing these in and running them, especially for some takeoffs and getting this done quick. And then we'll just delete those, not a big deal. Still save me so much time I can deal with delete. And now we have some pads in here for the B lots. And then what it's done is it actually put all those nodes in there for me. Okay. So as I'm coming here, this has all been graded now. I got a little pond that I've graded. I have some of the A lots here, and then we put some B lots with some B pads and some A pads. Pretty cool, right? So I got some of that in there. And then you have the break, and you have the one sloped one. And that was pretty quick. So that was like 32 lots. And of course, if I had a lot more lots and a lot of other things, it would crank through it and place those for me. And I'd probably end up with a couple other things I'd have to clean up. But man, talk about getting the job done. All right. So let's do a little labeling in here. We're going to go and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now that I need to do this, I need to go and label, right, this for my grading plan. Okay. And I wonder if I have, maybe we can see some of this. reload. Of that. Let's do a little bit of cleanup. See if it will, like it's unlocked. See if I can get through this. Oh, there it is. We'll just go with it. At the end of the day, we're going to put some labels on here. Let's go over to the Sim Project Suite, and we'll go to the Label Genie again. And over in the Label Genie, what we'll do is we'll come over to the surface spots on lot lines. All right. So I'm going to do is hit load. I'm going to hit yes. And what this is going to do is how this is set up is the first thing, just like your label and your annotation, you're going to come over here and hit spot, feature lines, and in here, the feature lines, it's going to go out in that type grading, type B grading and type B A grading. And that's what these layers are that these feature lines are on. Okay. The next thing is going to also tell me how many it's going to do. And then the vertices, right? So these are everything in that feature line, right? So I have a point of intersection, the through points, the beginning of the object. And what I'm doing is I'm not going to label the back because the label kind of flops out there, and I created another scenario for that. So what I did for this is going to be the surface spots over here for the B where these nodes are, and then one for the front of this lot over here. All right, just to show you where to change it. Here's some of the vertices. You only have one. We're going to do the vertices, and then we just talked a little bit about where to pick them. And then you have to pick the surface, right, for spot elevation. The object name here is finished ground, and that's what this is here. Go ahead. So once we have this set up, right, and this is the current drawing, this is the formatting, right? So this is going to actually put an elevation on the back a lot, and that is actually incorrect. So I'm going to do elevation only, and it's going to do a basic circle and cross. And now that I've did this, right, this is wrong if I load that. So I had a little change in here, and I didn't want it to be the back a lot. It's supposed to be elevation only. If I want to come over and overwrite this, what I do is come over here and do new. So it's going to over surface spots on lots. I'm going to hit new, and then I'm going to hit save. It's going to bring me out, and I'm going to say surface spots on lot lines. So I'm overwriting that, and I hit save, replace it. Now when I come over here and I go to surface spots on lot lines and I load it, if I come back to formatting, it's hit updated. All right. So now I have this for next time. All right. So let's go over here again. Let's see how many objects. We're going to have 36. So let's go ahead and run this tool, and we'll go ahead and hit add. And it's going to add 72 labels. I'll go ahead and hit OK. And then now you can see where I've went through here, and it's already put those labels and spot grades on these feature lines where the surface is. All right, that's pretty quick. And again, I could come through here and all this could change. And this is the same workflow that you would do. You know, you come through here, the surface would all update. So these would all be good. So they would know where to go. So you would just leave the labels there, but you would, again, run the updated corridor, do these updated feature lines on the right of way, run your B side lot, run your B or A side lot, your pad, and then this thing would be updated. You know, the changes are so dynamic. It just makes it so much easier to manage, and the headache of always changing this and spending a couple days, just not maybe a day of just modifying these and moving the nodes and moving the labels. Okay, let's do some of these. I'm going to put them on the back. So I created another one, but basically what it's going to do is going to actually, I'm going to not put them all the way along here. I'm just going to do the back. All right, so let's go to Label Genie. And this one I'm going to do, I have this one, which one is surface spots on lot lines. Here's surface spot on back of lots. All right, and I'll load this one. And that was the same scenario, a spot, feature line, same feature line on the layer. It's going to come out and do 36, but on the vertices, I only did the back, the end of object. Okay. And then if you come here, it's going to be vertices too. Again, here's that object, and then here's the surface again. finished ground. I could go pick it. And then we have the formatting, and then there's that back a lot that I created. It's a little bit different. All right. So let's go over here. And let's go ahead and hit here. Let's go ahead and add these labels. Hit OK. And now it's went back here and put a label in the back of all these lots for me. All right. Now, base like right now, I have this set to probably 2%, and it's just kicking this out for me. If this was not a 2% and it was actually tied to another feature line that was touching out here, this would have to, know a little bit about your hierarchy of feature lines. So if these are actually children, a style called child. These are actually on one that's above child in the site. This one back here may be, existing or something. This would be higher up. So if this was varying, if this feature line in the back and this was all touching, it would not change the grades. So it would come back here, grade up to here, and then whatever the difference was, that's what it would be. Because it would not update these back a lot elevations, because this feature line that would be running back in here is a hierarchy than these children and the front one. Okay. And when you go into your prospector and you go to your site, mine's probably a mess and a little bit of cleanup. If you come to your sites and you actually look at your feature lines and you go to properties and look at all this, I've kind of married a couple jobs together to put this together, but you can see my child is all the way at the bottom. And some of the other ones, this is my highest one. So anything that touches this one will never change the grade of this. Okay. And that's what I mean. This one here is at the lowest. All right. Okay. So now that we have a couple of these labels in there, let's go ahead and label some slope arrows in there. We'll go ahead and go back to label Genie. We'll load this up and we'll go to surface slopes on lot lines. Load. Yes. And then we got that. And I think it kind of was messing up on me a little bit over here, and I had to fix a little up. It's going to put a percentage over there, and it's going to put it on Anno. All right. It's going to do two points on a surface, and it's going to anchor point to that feature line. And that's those two feature lines again on the layer. And then we talked about it's going to be on the segment, and that's just pretty basic. And then the same surface is going to be that feature line. And then we'll go ahead and add some surface arrows. And hit OK. And you can see now where you can see I've put all those slopes in there for me. All right. So we're getting pretty good there, getting that all in there. Let me give it a little bit over here. We're going to add maybe some labels over here for the pond I created. So we have something for surface contours at intervals. I'll load that guy. And then this one brings up surface contours. We're going to do some surface contours object. The vertices, we'll look over here. And then this is where it's going to go from major to minor and then a user defined contour. And that's going to basically mean as it wraps around there, 75 feet, it's going to put a label in. You could do this for a large surface. You could do it on a grid. So it's really cool kind of concept of putting some surface contour labeling on a big job. And then they kind of move around, and I'll show you a little bit about that. We'll come over here again. That's the surface. That's the pond. Some of the formatting, I'm just using some major. What if I got a minor? We'll use that. See how it messes it up. We have a user. They do not. We'll do it on a minor. And then here's the layer that it's going to create. I wish I could have turned that. So maybe I'll put it on topo or annotation. Annotation. We'll just go with it. And we'll look at that. Maybe I should overwrite this if we like that. Let's go ahead and see what it does first. Let's move it off to the side. And I'll go ahead and run this one. And it's going to come out and put 29 labels around this pond. Whoa, that's a lot. I do not like those whatsoever. It did not look like that. So let's go ahead and clean it up. So I didn't like those minor ones. I must have cleaned that one up. Let's run this again. Surface contours, and we'll load. And it remembers what I set, and it didn't mess up all these that I had working for me before. I did have this on another layer. Let's put this on Sienna, right? And then look what it means here, right? It's add and update labels, right? So we're going to go over here and we're just going to hit add, and it's going to delete them and bring in some new ones. Okay. Maybe that's a little overboard, but I could kind of move these around, kind of do that and delete them. Probably a better way with a line, but you know, pretty slick. I'd probably move them around a little bit. But for probably try to move that maybe into a 60 or 100 or 200 that it wraps. Let's try to show you how you can label it. That's probably a small area, but if I did it for a large area for some contours, it look pretty good. We'll go ahead and save this drawing. This just does not look good. It's just kind of, you know, picky, right? I'm just gonna delete these. My pond looks a little, I don't like that great though. Maybe move him over. Make it look good. That's doable. All right, so we'll go ahead and save that one. All right. And then we go ahead and here hit save. And then now we have pretty much a pretty good looking grading plan going on here. And I don't know if my pond is in here. So let's go over to the pond. Why isn't that in there? And we'll go to the finished ground and look at the edits. And I do not have my pond in there. So we'll go ahead and add the pond. And then see how that surface looks. All right. And we got a little of this going on here. We'll look at our little grading plan that was created using some of these tools. It's not bad. I don't have an intersection that was in there or anything, but we're not a little bad surface graded, a little less than like 20 minutes or so. Don't get me wrong, getting those set up, but I could definitely come in here and tighten those up and rearrange them based on some things, but that's pretty fast there, you know. And then I have some dynamic ability to come in here and change it. Pretty good, pretty good. Got the driveways opening up, they go into a sidewalk. Pretty neat, pretty neat. All right, so let's kind of move on here. So now we have is we'll talk a little bit of pipe networks, right? So the pipe designer is a great tool we'll talk about. We'll also talk a little bit of the pipe planner that's going to help you edit some Excel spreadsheet data. And then we'll try to kick this out a little bit over here in the sheet generator. Let's go over to the utility plan. And I just wanted to show you, here's the utility plan. And basically I have the storm data shortcutted into this drawing. The grading plan actually has the storm in here and the sanitary is data shortcutted into here. We're going to make sheets in here, but the first thing I just wanted to show you is we're going to go over to this drawing, and I wanted to show you a little bit of the pipe designer. So how this is working is I have this pipe down here going into the pond, and then I have this existing sanitary that it's tying in, and I just have it running here, right? But as you look right here, I got some conflict, you know, I couldn't get my services here. So what happens if I just wanted to drop this, you know, this whole run? I could come over here to pipe designer and just pick. Right, so this is my downstream, and then I could just pick the upstream and just hit enter. And this is going to give me a dialog box that's going to allow me to update structures. I can drop between there. I can make this all 0.4. Okay, but right here, I can go ahead and just take this whole run and then type in 0.2 feet and then hit apply. I want you to see this and hit apply. Come on, more than that. And you'll see that whole run just drop so I can get my services to it. Okay. If I wanted to change some of those slopes, say I wanted to take 0.5, I could push this and push 0.5 all the way through and change some of those slopes. Okay. I could say if I could even drop this to another 3, maybe a foot, just to bring it in that little bit. You know, we'll go ahead and push this back to 0.4, and I'll push that through and hit apply. Okay, but then I'll go ahead and move this one up to maybe a 4 and hit apply. All right, so I just wanted to show you how I can dynamically move this pipe up and down, change the slopes. I can rename pipe. I can rename structures. Okay, I can sit there and say this was SS, SA for sanitary. I could start to grab this and start to change those prefixes and suffixes in here. If this is not a drop, I could come over here and not drop across the structures and pull that through. Okay, I could rename these things and hit apply. And now there's no drop across here. All right, and then it's renamed and numbered. All right, so I like the drop. So we're going to go ahead and put that back in. Okay, and then I like the SS. So we'll just do that again and pull that back and hit apply. All right, so I just wanted to show you little ways to use the pipe designer tool. There's some other really cool other tools that are in here also is part swapper. Part swapper is going to allow you to select multiple parts to swap out instead of you can only do it one at a time in plan view. But this will allow you to do that. We'll also have parts tagger will let me move surfaces that are reference to these structures all at once and alignments and add metadata to the structures. All right, let's go back over to the grading plan. And I want to go ahead and go over a little bit of the parts planner. All right. So once this opens up, it's going to give you a dialog box that's going to allow you to edit some of this data. All right. And what I've done is I started to create different things already. All right. So the first one I would do is maybe I want to do a manhole schedule. I'll go ahead and load it. Right. And then it brings in those things for me, right, that I've already set up, and then I save this out so other people could use it. And then I actually created a manhole schedule here. Let's go ahead and copy those. And I think I went and hit paste, and then we'll just use that one. And then we're going to overwrite some sheets. So when it looks in there, it knows that there's a structure sheet and there's on a pipe one. So it's going to overwrite those. But I know that I set the data at 2. Okay, so now that I do that, it's going to overwrite that cell data from here at A2. So what I had at the A1, some of the other ones I have set at 12, you can have all your information and all that updated up top. So you're overwriting the cells below your header is what I'm trying to show you. All right, so we'll go ahead and hit export. I'll go ahead and hit yes. And then what it's going to do is going to build this manhole schedule for me that I started to mess with. All right. And it overrided from 2, so forth. And what I did in here is that sometimes this was, it's kicking out from a plain spreadsheet. I went in here and started editing some of the formatted cells and I put it on number and the decimal places to kind of clean up this data. Okay. And then as you start to export this data, you can know where to overwrite. You'll have the cells all formatted. And then you'll actually be able to use this data so it looks nice and clean. All right. And don't save. So this is basically the pipe planner. It allows you to create spreadsheets to export. Everything in white is editable. Just like the pipe designer, I could come in here and change values and then hit apply and update it. You can also export things to Excel spreadsheet, update some of the piping information for your hydrology reports and things, update pipe sizes, and that is where you're going to bring it back in. Okay, and it's going to come pull out some of that data. Let's see if I got something. I'm just going to pull in something to show you. I have to show you the sheets that I'm going to bring in. And it would say not found in here to be updated. This must be from something else and changed and stuff. But look, parts not found in drawing gives you a little bit of clarity. If it was to be updated and it came from there, it's just going to show you what it's going to change before. All right. All right. That is the pipe planner and the pipe designer and some of the piping tools in the CTC civil tool set. Let's do a little bit of the sheet generator. Now, this is going to do a little bit of not a lot of sheets, but I just wanted to maybe twist some arrows and get it in my sheet set. And how it works is basically you're going to work the thing from left to right. And if you do get the CTC tools, there's things that you do need to bring into your templates to make it work. There is a plan view block, a profile view block. There is layers that we like to point to. So there's a little bit of setup. I have actually pulled it away from its template and started redoing it myself to see some of the complexity about it. And I think I got it working, and I still think there's a little bit of bugs, but hey, I think it's working pretty well. And for the first go around of setting it up in another drawing, I think it's working pretty well. Let's go ahead. The first thing you're gonna do is go from left to right. You're gonna put in some plan view shapes. And this dialog box bumps up, and then we're gonna see what the scale of those viewports are gonna be. We're gonna go ahead and make this a 20. Okay. And then we're gonna go ahead, and this is the alignment we're gonna pick. All right. And then basically what we're going to do is these are some of the layers that I'm talking about. So it's going to put a print area block over here. It's going to put it on that layer. There's going to be a boundary around there that controls some of the clipping. We're going to go ahead and hit next. This is going to be distance between match lines. We're going to go ahead and say we'll do we'll say 550. All right. There'll be a little bit of buffer around. That's fine. This is some of the other things for the view shape layer that you need to have in there, or create your own. This is the plan print block you'll need to bring into your drawing. Okay. Insert drafting guidelines. That's where it's going to put it on this block. All right. And I think it should be something else. I got this wrong. Anyway, it'll probably be dashed. We'll go for it. It still does a little good job. We'll go ahead and hit next, and then there, yeah, see it put this dashed in. But now you can kind of see it's put those prints in there for me. Okay. So we got a little bit of offset in here, and it's put those in. And I wish it would have done a little bit. I guess it went around the thing here, and I don't like that. Let's see if I can rotate this a little bit. Yeah, so this here, I'm going to clean it up and maybe rotate that a little bit. And this is what it's going to come out and look for. See if I can fix this tab. And parent intersection. Nope. Rotate, let's do a rotate. Previous. Parent intersection. Reference. Nothing like a demo when you try to get this working good and you get your little, we'll just go with it. Okay, and then this one needs to move a little bit. All right, and this needs to be here. And this is going to be the clipping that it does. All right, so I'm a little straight up, a little more straighter there. And that's what it's going to create those viewports in. Okay. And what it's doing is we're trying to make this sheet. So these are some of the views. This is some of the view block reference here. So we got the print block that we're using. And then we're also using this other one here. Okay. And that's the profile one. So we're going to use this layout to create these sheets. All right. So let's come over here and let's go to we're going to work from left to right. We're going to do some of the profile views. We're going to do this one. We're going to use profile view and hit next. I like, we'll do 550. User, that's fine. We'll use 32. We're just going to bring that in. That's fine. That's fine too. We're going to do no bands. Then we're going to go up, and then we're going to create some of these, and then we'll just create right here these. Look at this, perfect. All right. look at all that. And then I know that we started to get these kind of working. Did I get this right? Let's see if that is. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Let's see if I can bring this down. All right. So I got these in here. But so I need to change some of these heights. Okay, so it didn't come out. So we're going to go ahead and move networks to the drawing. So let's go ahead and we'll do all these to the. See if I can get these in real quick. You know what? Let's just run with it. I'm not going to have time. We're going to go ahead and do networks to view. We're going to go ahead and select these views right here. We're going to do the 50. We'll do 50, and that's going to bring in all these for me. And that's probably it. I don't want the side ones, which is fine for presentation wise. We're just going to run with it. What I'm going to do is also, once we have those in there, we're also going to adjust the profiles. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick these. And then this is going to allow me to, I could change the mean to whatever I want. Right now, I'm, match the viewport, add a buffer. Right now, we're just going to use a fixed height for this profile view. And it's basically going to be, the lower is going to be 690 and the top is going to be 610. So I'll go ahead and hit OK, and then it moved that where I needed it. And it looks like it's a little bit of putting those side pieces in. Let's see if I can clean this up a tad. I know I got those side dog leg ones. They're not designed yet, apparently. All right, so we have these in here. So let's go ahead and run this. So now that we have these set up the way that we like, we could go ahead and do some profile view shapes. So we'll go ahead and pick here, and we'll pick here and hit enter. Okay, and it's going to take you to this dialog box, and it's going to look for that plain print block. It's going to look for that plan view shape. We're just going to kind of go and hit next. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I'm going to hit cancel because this needs to be at a 20. And that's why it's not as, there we go. So let's go ahead and save this here. And then let's do this again and hit some plan view, profile views in here. And then we'll bring this over again. We have this all set up. We'll hit next. That's fine. All right. And then we'll do this. This all comes through. We'll go ahead and hit finish. And then now we have some things in here. So I put this print block in here for me. And I'm still trying to get this kind of working for me. So this is basically going to put this in about right there. This is going to allow me to change this a little bit. I think I'm going to go with, a 50. And then I think I'm going to change this to 2100. And this is going to allow me to do these. All right, and I'll have to get that in there, and then I'll go ahead and make this one profile. And this is going to be 1, and this one, and this is going to be 5. Okay, and then we're going to move this one over here just so this all fits in there. Okay, and we'll do that. And now that we have those set, and it's a little sloppy, but we'll get it set up. This is where I was kind of ending. We'll go ahead and take these right here, and we'll go ahead and save the drawing. Hit save, and then we'll hit create layouts. This is taking that the data shortcuts are going to come over. The dialog box comes over. We're going to do plan and profile. It tells me the objects it's going to use. This is the plan profile it's going to create. I guess I'm missing one, but well. And then basically it's going to come through, should change my north arrow, hit next. And then I'm going to come over here, and here's the sheet set. We're going to use this layout to duplicate. we're going to come over to the desktop, web tools here, and we're going to put it in that sheet set. We'll hit finish. And it basically put in that sheet. And I'm not sure why I didn't put the other sheet in. I had to play with it a little bit, but now I have it in my spreadsheet or in my sheet set. And it has, I lost the one, but I can come over here, grab this and start to mess with it. And now I've created this sheet, a plan and profile sheet pretty quickly. Run through my sheet set, hit plot, and then I'm out and I have a set of plans and preliminary. All right. I appreciate everybody's time for joining today. My name is Todd Tilford, and I appreciate your time. And thanks for all the thanks for viewing my webinar today. Okay. Please make sure you like, subscribe to our channel. And then look for some of that resources being sent through email. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.